Hello the internet, welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to be talking about curses. This is something that I have spoken at length on various podcasts, and I thought it would be a nice addition to the channel to have sort of this, what I call the anatomy of curses, present here, because I think there's a lot of misinformation or shallow understanding of cursing and what that entails, and kind of the different layers of things. And one of the first things that I use is sort of a distinguishment, because I have like the two types of curses, and those are curses with the lowercase c and curses with an uppercase C. Now, most people think when they hear the word curse, they think of the uppercase C. That means someone's lit candles and they've called on powers and they have sent malintent your way with energy and ritual or sacrifice or something. That's, the Hollywood version of the curse. But what's more common and ultimately more troublesome is what I call the lowercase c's. And the lowercase c curses are, things that we believe about ourselves. Or as the Wandering Oracle says, a curse is a lie that we believe about ourselves. And, these are things that we pick up in our formative years and form an identity around, depending, and some of these are not malintent when they're said to us. It's just the way that we process them and take them in. So, the adults around us, or even, other kids can say things that they're trying to protect us from disappointment, but they leave an impression about our capabilities, our identity, because when we're young, we require other people to reflect back our identity. We don't know who we are. And that is a lifelong process of learning who we are. So what happens is, like, little things, when perhaps they're trying to socialize you and to do something that's good for you, and they say, no one's going to love you unless you fill in the blank. But what we hear oftentimes is no one's ever going to love you for you. That's going to be what you do for them, or, how you act, or what you have, what you offer, what you bring to the table. Or, you're not good enough to do this. You don't know what you're saying. If you do this, you'll never make it. All of these little things that are thrown our way, or, to sort of keep us on a safe path, whatever that looks like. Again, it can be very well meant and intending, but have a negative effect on how we view ourselves, what we're capable of. Another example of a lowercase c is, you're just like your father, you're just like your mother, or you're just like another family member, or, and what this does is it sets us up that, whatever negative aspect this is, that we are destined to be that, or to experience that, or to have that happen in the same way, because we believe, oh, we're just like them, and that's what happens to them. That's what happened to them, so that's going to happen to me. And I've had, different people who have had, parents that passed away at a younger age, and they're getting towards that age, and they're worried that I'm going to die at that time, because that's the time that my mother died or my father died. He didn't live past this, and and so they feel like and there's that lowercase c going. Yeah. So those are sort of like they become sort of a distorted mirror of who we really are. And people say, well, how is that a curse? And I'm like, well, if you go through life feeling that no one's ever going to love you for you, it really does operate like a curse. You keep coming into situations with a particular attitude, or, a particular set of responses that makes people respond in that way almost. Or when you actually do experience love from people, it upsets you, it freaks you out, you run away from it because it's not what you're used to, it's not part of your identity. And so you don't have a place for it in you and in your life. So those lowercase c's, those little curses, add up to larger things over time. And then we come back to the uppercase C. So the big curse, when someone's thrown stuff. So what most of those do is they throw energy at it and they look for an opening in your field. And one of those places will be where those little lowercase c's are. They're just sticking out in here. It's like, oh, doesn't feel that they're loved at all. Oh, I'm going to wreck the relationship then. You know. And so those things act like little hooks for whatever, energy that people are throwing out at us. And then that activates that lowercase c, empowers that, gives it more juice, as it were, to affect your whole energy field and your life. And so that's kind of how that works. And so the real work, of course, we do things to cleanse and all, and push off and get away stray energy and pick out. I've literally gone in people's field and picked out little daggers. That's what they appear like, and say we stare daggers at people, and we do. We have pointed gazes, and we fling energy unconsciously out all the time, and not just bad energy either. We do it with our love. We just throw our affection out into the world, and that hits people. And some people it's like yay, and other people they run away from it because of their little lowercase c's. But we're always in the sea of energy and exchange between ourselves, other people, the world, our society, our families. And so the more we work on all of those lowercase c's, all those distortions of our identity and our, how we define ourselves, what we think of ourselves, it allows us to show up in a more authentic way and not be fooled or swayed by, external factors as much. And that's really important. And it's a lifelong journey. It's not something you're just like, oh yes, I've cleaned off all of that, I'm good to go. No, I'm still in the process myself of uncovering oh wow, I didn't know I believed this about myself. And it's really important that we, commit to, over time, coming within, seeing, what have we told ourselves about ourselves? Where did this come from? Who initiated this? Was it really ours? Did we really sit there? Because when we form a lot of these beliefs, we're not very rational thinkers. We're very young. And we just believe what we're told. So we have to identify those sources, see, maybe see where they were coming from. And there's a whole process to kind of come out of that, which is something I am still learning and experiencing. When I learn more, I will share more. But this is kind of how these things are structured and work and affect us. And they affect us by pulling on subconscious programming that, makes us respond in certain ways, makes our body respond in certain ways too to events. Are we excited or are we stressed out about it? Or are we both? We can get the same news and have a completely different physiological response depending on what our internal makeup is. So that's why it's really important. Again, people throw around they put a hex on you, put a curse on you, and people get really, really frightened. And I'm here to tell you that, yes, bad things can happen. People can do awful things, but they don't need magic to do that. They can be just as hurtful or awful without ever lighting a candle. It's really important to not get so afraid of those, because those big curses, those uppercase C's as I call them, are relatively easy to dispel. The harder ones are all of the little ones, the little lies that we tell ourselves about, how we're not good enough, how no one will ever love us, how we'll never make any money, how we'll always struggle, we'll never be happy, and you get the picture. So I hope this video is instructive and informative for you, and I hope it allows you to start having a bit more compassion for yourself, and even for when you start unpacking where some of these distortions of the self came from, even compassion for those people who gifted those to you. I mean, and again, many times in a very unconscious way, perhaps handing down what had been gifted to them. So I hope that it makes you kinder to yourself, a bit more forgiving of others, and that a little less afraid of what someone else might say or do. So, until next time, peace and blessings. Hello, thank you so much for watching. If you like this channel, please, subscribe, hit the bell icon so that you are notified anytime I upload new content. If you're interested in supporting me, you can click a link down below and send a PayPal donation, or you can join my Patreon community of support. Links for that will also be down below. The other thing you can do is just like the video, share it on social media, and of course, subscribe.